What's up, how you doing? Here we are, beautiful day today. Beautiful day, not even one cloud in the sky, totally blue. Nice temperature, everything is perfect, feels nice, slight breeze. I want to say it's about a quarter mile an hour from random places. So I'm a little bit hungry. I'm hungry. Have some toast here. 3 pieces of Wonder Bread and everybody's favorite, Vegemite. Vegemite. This is going to be a Vegemite sandwich. Now, I've never had Vegemite before. This will be my first time. Just bought this, proudly made in Australia since 1923. Vegemite. Now, I know Vegemite from the song Down Under by Men at Work. Came out in the 80s. I don't know, was it 82, something like that? 82, 83, around those years. Nice tune. You still hear it. I don't know whatever happened to the band, but I like that tune. Anyway, he mentions that some guy, was he 6'4", full of muscles, gave the singer, I guess, a Vegemite sandwich. And back then, I had no idea what that was. I thought it was like nice, like a nice Italian sub. Different cuts of salami, a little bit of cheese in there, maybe some mortadella, you know, different things, ham. But apparently, it's something better. So this is, let me see what it says. Yeast extract. That alone opens up my appetite. Just yeast. And it says with added vitamin B2, B3, and folic acid. Best before, see base of jar. Nice, I like that. They have it somewhere here. If you can't find it, they give you directions where to look. And you don't need those directions because this is nice and big. So, this is good until November 20th, 2025. I have a feeling that this is going to go beyond that. I'm not going to finish this. So I've heard, and maybe I'm wrong, but I've heard that a little is more than enough. A little bit is more than enough. So you put a little bit. Now I did a video, it's still on my channel, where my mother, I told her to try it, and she put a ton on, and she didn't try it. So, but this is a whole different bottle. Jar. So now fresh water. Now I'm going to say one thing right off the bat. Not the best smell. Not the best smell. Something about it annoys me. You know, it's, I don't know, but it's subjective. That's my opinion. All right, so look at that, brand new. Looks like chocolate, right? If this was chocolate, you know, like mixed with hazelnut, it would be good. So I'm gonna take a little bit. I'm gonna take the advice of certain people that have told me a little bit is more than enough. So spread a thin layer. We'll do the whole thing. You know, looking at it like that, looks like Vaseline with cocoa powder. Vaseline with cocoa powder. Or it also reminds me of figs, you know, when they squash them up and they make paste out of them. Figs. Looks like I'm having figs here, fig spread. I used to eat a lot of figs as a kid. You know that Fig Newton thing? Yeah, that I would get in my room, and that was one of my snacks back then. I would be watching cartoons of the $6 Million Man or Kojak the Night Stalker, didn't matter. Sometimes the Flintstones, the Jetsons, that Dixie and Pixie cartoon, big fan of that. I liked it better than Tom and Jerry. They actually spoke. And Jinx the Cat. And I would get the Fig Newtons and I would finish it. You know, they tell you what's a serving, like 3. I would eat the whole package. I decide what the serving is, not the people that make it. Alright, so that is a nice thin layer. See? Very thin. And let's see if it's any good now. So delicious water. All right, here we go. So, right off the bat, not the best flavor. I guess if you have a little bit more, I guess it grows on you. I can eat it, but it wouldn't be something I would pick if there were other things available. Some weird. I can't really, I don't know anything else to describe it to. It has a bit of a, like, if I were to, say to somebody, you ever tried battery acid? Not the acidity, but that flavor that you would think battery acid would have. Similar. Yeah, it's a weird thing. It's not, I could eat it. I could eat a lot of things, but like I said, if I had like Nutella here next to this, I would pick Nutella. And I think it's one of those things. You have enough of it, it'll start changing your mind. Yeah, it'll change your mind. It'll be like, I'm good, and I'll be, yeah, it's not bad. But right off the bat, not the best. I don't want to offend the Australians out there that have this as a main meal, but something about it is annoying me. That's slightly better than the first bite I took. I don't know. I think it's an acquired taste. I can acquire it. I think the first time you have a beer, it doesn't taste that sharp. But then if you have, over time, if you have a few beers, right, over time, they start, not all the time. Sometimes you don't feel like a beer, right? Sometimes you're like, I don't feel like that. But yeah, I'm getting it a little bit. I'm understanding, the appeal. So I don't know what it goes with, like, you know, pickles. It's got a lot of stuff in it, the nutritional information in the back here. You know, it's very hard to read it too, with tiny letters, numbers. All right, what do we got here? So per 100 grams, carbohydrates 11 grams, sugar not much, 3 grams, 3.8 grams, fiber 9 grams, protein. So that the protein is impressive. Protein is impressive. Per 100 grams, it has 24 grams, almost 25 grams of protein. 25 grams of protein. But you'd have to probably eat a jar of this or something. Salt, I can see 8.25 grams. Then it has thiamine, 11 grams. Riboflavin, 8.6. Niacin, 50 milligrams. Folic acid, 2,000 milligrams. I don't know what that is. So that's per 100 grams. So basically, in order to get 25 grams of protein out of this, you would have to have a little bit less than half of this jar. So you could live off of this. You could survive off of this. This is probably like what they came up with during famine. Said, get that stuff over here. We're hungry. It's rich in protein. But yeah, so about that much of this will give you 25 grams of protein. So probably this whole thing has about 60 grams of protein in here. That's not bad. It's a survival food. You take this with you when you go up hiking up in the mountains there, San Gabriel mountain range, and you could probably survive a long time if you take 2 of these jars. Well, not a long time, but I would say 1 a day. Yeah, I'm gonna have to have like 10-15 of these and then comment on it, see if the flavor appeals to me a bit more. But you know, like I said, I could eat it. I'd rather have this than lamb, I'll tell you that right now. It's very grippy, like if you want to stop on a dime, you would put that on the floor and you'd stop on a dime. Vegemite. Now when I was a kid, I was always wondering, what is that Vegemite sandwich there? Vegemite sandwich. And what do? You take bread and then put, you know, a tablespoon and spread it inside and then eat that. Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's okay. It's okay. It gets better with time. When I first tasted it, I thought not as sharp as you know, you would think listening to the song. It makes it sound delicious. Guy says, give me a Vegemite, I'll have it. 6'4" and full of muscles. Quiet, so they're a little bit quiet. One of those relaxing days. Good day to have a rocking chair, Go back and forth here, and some lemonade. Maybe a nice burger. Remember those burgers? The burgers from the old days. It's hard to find a burger that tastes like that these days. I mean, they taste good, but back then there was something about them. Maybe it was the charcoal. You know, Bigford's charcoal. That always made food taste a lot better. Especially if you were at the beach all day and then you came home, and in the backyard somebody would be barbecuing. We've lost the flavor on barbecuing. It's like 90% of people cook with propane. And protein. It's almost like I want to say protein. Propane. That's it right there. My brain going to protein with the Vegemite. But propane lacks flavor. Yeah, it lacks flavor. In the old days, remember you'd buy barbecue that was propane powered, and they would give you those volcanic looking rocks, and you'd spread them around, and that was to intensify the flavor. I remember we bought one, I think it might have been at Sears, and the guy explained to us that you know, the best thing to do the first few times you use it is to mix a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of oregano, you know, different spices, and then pour it onto the hot coals, the artificial. They're not artificial. They're you know, looks like volcanic rock. And then after that, when you're barbecuing on that, it'll release the flavor, and it worked. But now they don't even, you know, nowadays it's like don't even bother with the rocks. They're too messy, and they don't do that anymore. Now it's just the propane and, you know, the metal. That's it. But I miss the flavor of a good barbecue. You know you're at a good place when you know that smell that good wood has when it burns. You know, I don't mean it smells like a forest fire. It just has that nice smell that opens up your appetite. I don't know what that is. If it's oak, it's good wood though. And you'd go by, you know, like especially in the fall time, you know, that crisp air, and that little smell is drifting through there, and you pick it up and you're like, I'm hungry. But every once in a while I will, you know, be driving on one of these roads up here, and somebody will have a sidewalk cafe, and you'll smell that nice hardwood burning. There's a few places that make pizza with the hardwood, and it's, you know, very appealing to me. It smells nice. Somebody texted me. Oh yes. Yeah. Yep. I remember the old days when I was a kid, the old people in my neighborhood, you know, it'd be summer out, and they would have a little chair with a table, maybe a little drinky poo there, a beverage, and the radio low. Sometimes it would be a baseball game, sometimes it would be some old music, and they would just sit there relaxing, enjoying the day. And I was like, how are you enjoying the day sitting there like a zombie? I wanted to run around and do things, and they would just like, slow down, take it easy. I'm not at that point yet, but I understand them better now than I did back then. You know, they would come out and you'd see them there, just, you know, looking around, checking out the birds flying by. What's going on with the siren? It's like they went the wrong way, then they came back. But you know what I miss? Summertime, going to get a haircut by myself, you know, when I was a kid. And that barbershop was an old-fashioned one, you know, so you'd go in there summertime, the front door was open, create a little draft inside, got the breeze coming in, and they had this old black and white television set, and it was up on the stand, and you'd hear the baseball game. Very relaxing, you know, those announcers are very low-key, very relaxed, and I'd sit there watching. And then other times they'd have the radio on. And I've said this before, but once again, I'm going to say it again. I don't know what it was, but they had a radio station that loved the song Key Largo, Bertie Higgins. And a lot of times when I would get a haircut, that song would come on. I love that song. What a heartbreaking song that is. Guy had a girl, and then he lost her, and then he went and, you know, sat at his table at home, and he wrote a song to get her back. And according to the story, he got her back. He got her back because of that song. Now I don't know what happened after that, but that's very sad when you fall for someone. You know, that feeling inside, you know, when all the chemicals are rushing through the brain to make you attracted to that person, that feeling of euphoria that you can't get any other way, and then you lose that person. I don't know, something happens, you get into an argument, they take something the wrong way that you said, or you said something but it wasn't as bad as they took it, and then they disappear. That feels like the worst withdrawal. So in the song, you can actually feel that, you know, you feel it. He has this connection with this woman, and then something happens and she's gone. You know, they do all these things together. They watch the late shows, and, you know, the Key Largo there with Bogart, Bacall. And one of my favorite songs, even if you've never experienced that early in life, you know, when you hear, if you were young when you heard that song for the first time, you immediately can feel what he's talking about. And then later on in life, when you do experience it, you're like, yeah, that's a heartbreak. But it's like you lost the biggest treasure, you know, and even worse, you know, fall in love, and somehow your brain is connected to this person, and you fall in love, and then something happens, that person loses that feeling, so they can obviously do these things to you, and then they disappear, and you feel like you lost the most precious thing. And that's what that song is about. It's always a good song when you can feel the emotion of the guy who wrote it, and for that one I feel it. Another song I feel the emotion is the song Hearts, by what are they, Marty Bally from Jefferson Airplane. Not the Jefferson's Cleaners, but so he did a solo album, and that song has always been one of my favorite songs. Love that tune. Hearts. It says hearts can break and never meant together. Hearts can be that way. He's like, in the song, he asks, is everything all right? And I guess there was a breakup, and he's, you know, trying to see if she's all right, if, you know, if things are going okay for her. But you hear the lyric and the music, the marriage of those two, and, you know, immediately you feel that. You feel like you're the one with the loss, with the heartbreak. And even the way the instrumentation goes, you can feel it. Good tune. Beth by Kiss, you feel the emotion. Sometimes When We Touch, another one, you know, Dan Hill, that's a really good tune. And there's two versions to that. There's a short one and a long one. The long one is the better one. I don't know, years ago I was like, that's too long, we can't have it on the radio, it cuts into the commercial time. But Occasionally they play the long version. It's missing a verse, but or maybe it's the bridge they're missing. I don't know. They're missing a little portion there, and it belongs there when you hear it originally with that lyric in there, and then they take it out. You're like, that's abrupt. You need that. So that's a really good tune. Sometimes when we touch, the honesty's too much. Yeah. Beautiful tune, beautiful tune. He had a comeback album, but nothing as good as Sometimes When We Touch. Of course, he did the song It's a Long Road. Love that tune. It was never a hit, but for me it was. It's a long road. I feel that song too. It's a long road. The End of First Blood. Yeah, that one. That's a good tune. Dan Hill. Dan Hill. He's an older guy now. I've seen him, in recent years. Old. Years ago, he had that fluffy hair. Looked like The Weeknd. Not anymore. Anyway, that's it. I'll probably finish that Vegemite. I got 2 more of these. So we'll see what happens. I will be back later, and I will tell you if the flavor has improved or not. But like I said, it's doable for me. It's not like I can't have it. I can have it, but it's a bit strange. Anyway, that's it for now. Ciao.